Hey yo, you are tuning in to another episode for season number 2 of the Make Mondays Interesting podcast. I'm your host, Denzel Gaga. This is a God-given talent production. And as always, we are brought to you by Pamelia Accountants, financial solutions for you and your family. Now, on today's episode, I have a special guest and I'm looking right at him in the eyes.
Come on.
He's my old high school teacher. And look at his excitement. This is the most excited guest I've had on the show. It is Josiah Hein. Josiah, how you going?
Good, man.
Good?
I'm good.
Are you excited?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think something I've always loved about you is how much energy and excitement that you exude in yourselves. So I'm grateful to have you on the show, and a little backstory of kind of how we know each other. Yes, of course, through high school.
Yeah.
But I think we've maintained, kind of a friendship after high school. We still see each other here and there and run into each other.
Come on.
And something that I've always admired in you is, I'm thankful to you because around about the same time I started finding YouTube vlogs, started watching them, started getting really interested in them. I was like, I want to be doing this one day. And then you started doing them. Wow. And I was like, okay, someone in my world, my close circle, like this, my sphere of people that I know closely is doing it. Maybe I got to start doing it.
Come on now.
So you inspired me to do the vlogging, and really the vlogging has gotten me to doing the podcasting. And now it's come full circle because you are now a guest on the podcast.
Wow, that's so good.
So, yeah.
I love that, man. That's so beautiful.
So another thing that I've always enjoyed hearing from you is your travel stories. So today I really wanted to ask you about travel. And my first question for you is, how did this all begin? How did this when was the young Josiah saying, hey, I want to go travel the world?
The travel bug question. We've all got it, eh?
Yeah.
Man. Came from sort of poor is a harsh word, but a family that had limited resources, but the priority was always travel.
Yeah.
So we never owned a nice car, but we'd drive to Florida. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We never really had nice things per se.
Yeah.
But we, would just get in the car and drive. That's all we could do young. And then when I was 10, Mom I have a twin sister, Jenica.
Yeah.
So Mom took Jenica and I to England and Wales and Scotland. 10 years old, sitting on that plane, man, Shania Twain, on those old Air Canada. And I was just crying. Like, in my memory, it was almost like, it felt like almost the whole journey home was just sad to be leaving Europe.
Yeah, wow.
Because I just wanted to continue, right? And I just remember listening to that song, so glad we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby.
Love it.
And it's like, wow, I came this far. I went to England and I made it. And now I'm just going back to snowy, not dreary. Canada's beautiful, but it's hard to appreciate it when you're a kid where you live compared to a place like Europe, right?
Yeah.
And I just, oh man. Yeah, that's probably early on. I needed to travel, man. Once you start like that young, hey, seeing a castle in Wales and, Isle of Skye, all just this wild experience, Probably people from the UK are like, oh, whatever, the UK. But it's like, man, the UK for a Canadian is it's like Disney. It's like a world of Disneyland. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the whole country is Disneyland. The whole country is just crazy looking and different, and these cool double-decker buses. And you just, as a young kid, you just, man, I just want to see more of it, eh?
That's so good. So obviously you did that trip with your family. When was your first solo trip? Because like, so, hang on. So you did the England trip.
Yeah.
Was there any other big family trips before you started going solo? Or was that the big main one that where you caught the bug, and there's no other ones after that?
No,
Really?
there was probably a big moment was this. Mom and Dad didn't care about school either, right? So it was like during exams, and it was like, oh, there's this crazy deal, $600 each or something dumb. Maybe it was 600 for the children or something. It was a flights to Palma, Mallorca, Spain, and then a 7-day cruise around the Mediterranean.
Wow.
For like 600 Canadian or something like that, something dumb. So Mom just booked us all, and that's where I met Michael. We just played ping pong. You know, we're like 13, you know, roughly from memory, and we became friends. And Michael kind of had this rich Uncle Andrew in Ireland.
Yeah.
And and all of a sudden, Uncle Andrew was like, man, Michael, you got to keep in touch with Josiah, you know, like, so I started flying to Ireland every year after that alone.
Oh, wow.
Like, so from 14, like I had you know, I would pay my own way too. Like I had a job, and I would just bankroll golf trips to Ireland from the age of 14.
Yeah, wow.
And just on my own, man.
Wow.
And then obviously the big move was when I was 18, just after my 18th birthday. Jenica, my twin sister, and I moved to Australia, other side of the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, those were but yeah, 14, alone, international. My parents had me on a long leash. It was long, baby. It was a long leash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And so you said you had a job to be able to pay your own way.
Yeah.
Was the motivation of getting a job simply to travel, or did you just get a job and then, oh, actually I can travel?
Yeah, I think I had like a weird poverty mindset. Like I could think because, you know, like our family didn't have a lot of cash, right? So like when you grow up in that kind of environment, well, the other kids are just, they don't care. They just spend their money. But like from a young age, I would just save money.
Yeah. That's
like
cool.
Mom would give $2 to each of us to go get lollies from the gas station, and I would put it in my piggy bank, and then I'd go with the kids and try to, oh, could I have a lolly? You know?
Oy. That's smart.
Yeah, like, but so I just had every dollar that I earned, and I had like a business when I was 10, mowing lawns, shoveling snow.
Wow.
Like I got a job at a golf course when I was 12, caddying. Got caddy of the year the following year when I was 13, and got a promotion to the back shop. And then I lied about my age because I was going to the movies spending like $7 a ticket on, you know. And for me, that may as well have been $1 million. Like $7. Like, you know, I was like, if I get a job at the movies, I'll get free movie tickets. Hey. So that's the reason why I got a job at the movies, because I'm like, every Friday night, all the cool kids are going to the movies. So I lied, told him I was 14, told him I was born in 1986, not 1987, and got a job, you know, a second job. And because I was a good salesman, good with customers, I was getting like $110, $120 bonuses every month.
Wow. For
just being the best popcorn salesman.
Yeah.
And then, so that was night, because the movies don't open in the day in Canada. They're like, you know, the first showing is like 6 p.m. kind of thing from memory, maybe 5. But it wasn't like here. And then, so I'd caddy during the day, and then nightfall I'd work at the movies. And so I just, man, and then I was saving every penny.
Yeah.
So I had cash. And I couldn't understand why people were buying these cars. And like when we got 16, my buddy goes out and buys a $20,000 car. I'm going, man, you could travel for like a year on that. if you went to Thailand or something. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. These guys are just, it's all priorities, right? And you can, I was pretty extreme. I understand that. But yeah, so I just had money. So I just had, it was like, oh, I could fly to Ireland and I had no expenses when I get there. Uncle Andrew was bankrolling the hotels, the rounds of golf, the food, the drinks, everything, right? So it was like, just get to Ireland and literally it's a free trip.
Wow.
So it was doable.
Wow. What would you say to someone who hasn't traveled yet? What would you say to that person?
Well, geez, that's a tough one.
Because I guess a lot of people use the excuse of, I don't have money, so I'm never going to travel.
Is this a person that wants to travel or
just someone who just hasn't traveled in general yet?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what age, because there's a lot of people in different age categories where they haven't traveled and they haven't explored the world.
Yeah.
Like one of I just said earlier, that, well, the excuses they use is, I don't have money to do it. And
yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess it's hard because if you don't value travel, how can you start valuing it unless you do it? I find travel was always quite enriching. Like, I was on that trip when I was 10 as well. Like, my teacher was like, hey, for your assignment this term, do a travel journal with photos in it and, show me your trip, submit it. So I created this cool document and
yeah, that's cool.
And, told her experiences each day with postcards pasted in. And I took time every night to do this. And man, I learned I came back and she's like, you hands down learned way more than anyone that was here.
Wow.
And I just kind of had this, I don't know if that was because it was like, she loved travel too or whatever it was, but it was those kind of things that really and my parents really instilled that too. Like, I almost died when I was 14 from salmonella food poisoning. And I was like in this, I was unconscious for 30 hours.
What the heck?
I almost died. And my mom, when I woke up after 30 hours, my mom's like, Josiah, if you get a little bit better, I'll take you to Venice. And the doctors are literally saying, prepare to die. Like, your son's not going to make it out of this. Like,
what?
At that point, they thought that was it. So, and then mom comes back to me a couple hours later going, how you feeling, Josiah? I'm like, significantly better. Like, can we book that Venice in, So I didn't know, why is my whole family crying at the airport? And I'm in a wheelchair. I couldn't move. So I they wheeled me on the plane and I had no energy, man. And I'm on a plane to Venice, right? And, and everyone's saying goodbye and I didn't know. And then I actually got better in Venice. And mom's like, Josiah, you're getting better. I'm like, yeah, what did you think? She's like, I brought you here because you had to see Venice before you died. And she thought I was going to die, right? So this is the family I grew up in, though.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're going to die? Venice. It's like this priorities, so kind of a crazy thing, but mom and dad are like, put that on the credit card, baby. We got to take Josiah to Venice. So I just had this, just this insane family that mom's parents were quite wealthy. So she traveled. Dad came from this kind of, poor farmer background. And sort of, but then mom wanted to run away from her wealthy family and was like, I don't need anything,
Yeah.
And, but I think that travel bug never got out of mom.
Yeah.
So it was like.
Carried on to you.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I've digressed, but I don't know, I'd probably try to break it down in a really micro way. Like, oh, well, do you enjoy exploring? If they're a person on the Gold Coast, do you enjoy a trip to Byron Bay? Or, a road trip to Noosa? Or is it literally just video games in your bedroom is all you want to do? But once you establish if you want to travel, or if you, wow, I did enjoy Byron, you could tell them, well, man, there's a place like Byron Bay in New Zealand, you know? It's like, you know, Cape Reinga or Cape Kidnappers in Napier, or, you know, Nugget Point Lighthouse in the South Island, or just, I don't know, trying to, or have you been to Hawaii, man? Like the whole country is like that. Or, oh, you like the lighthouse at Byron? Wow, well, man, it's a lot like Ireland. You should check out the West Coast, like Galway and the Cliffs of Moher, and you know, like you could start, you know, I don't know, dreaming of those things. Yeah, I guess. And then once you dream, you can start small though, man. Like take a drive to Coffs, 3 hours, and explore things. And yeah, okay, it's a tank of fuel, but it's like you can feel like you're, you know, you can camp or sleep in the car or sleep in a swag, or, you know, it doesn't have to be these rich, insane holidays, you know. You can see if you like it, right? Like you might not like travel and you might be a homebody and just, I don't know, but I'd say you don't know until you try. But yeah, it's hard because if you got anxiety, or there's a lot of things that could hold people back. But if it's just money, I understand that it depends. If you're like a single mom with kids, like going to Coffs might be impossible, right? But you know, could you do a staycation and do a road trip to a different beach in New South Wales every day with the kids and have, I don't know, little hacks to try to make you feel like you can do it without breaking the bank. I don't know, but I found travel beautiful because you meet the people and how they, like, I remember one of the things on that cruise, so vivid in my mind, like, remember this grandma in Malta. We stopped in the island of Malta, and she was just hanging her laundry on the line, and she had to kind of pull the line, and like it was in between this narrow alley between the neighbor's house, and I don't know if they take a day each, but just like that's your life, like cobblestone streets, these, you know, I just was blown away. Like you could see the ocean at the end of the alley, and you know, it was just like, far out, this person lives here. I didn't know her name or didn't talk to her, but just to see how people do life in another part of the world is just, you know, insane. Like third world as well. Like you do a mission trip to the Philippines and you don't realize, but like, you know, like we hated, like the first trip I did, you know, we went to this village, Taft in Samar, and just off Leyte. And like these guys put together quite a lot of money and bought us all a fish each, which we were like, oh, it's still got an eyeball, and you know, like
I wasn't on that trip.
We were scared though.
Yeah.
And heaps of people were just chucking the whole fish in the bin. You know what I mean? And then they're like, we didn't know, but you know, we saw this family eating the whole fish between 6 of them and realizing, whoa, like that. And that was a delicacy for them, right? Like it was like a big thing.
Yeah.
And you're going, wow, like stuff we just chuck out, stuff we think is trash, is something that this family actually like. And they were horrified we threw it out because they're like, man, we could have taken this around the village and fed people that didn't eat today. And you start getting that's the advantage of traveling to poor countries. Yeah. Countries with lower GDP. It's like, wow, you know.
Appreciation for what you have back home.
Yeah. And then you walk through Robina Town Center and it's like, this is Disney World. You know, like, whoa, like I live in Disney World. I live in Fantasyland. You know, like we don't have to do anything, man. You just earn this wage, go to Woolies. The fisherman already caught that thing for you. Like the farmer's already harvested the wheat and, you know, milled it into flour and used the right yeast. And the baker made that sourdough for you. You didn't have to do anything. You just paid him $5 or whatever it is. And you don't have to keep chickens and, like you just buy 12 eggs and you might not even know what a chicken is. And you're just eating eggs every morning. Oh, these come from chickens? Like we live in this crazy world of like, you can be so removed. Like, have you ever seen a chicken slaughtered?
I actually haven't seen it slaughtered, but I have, because I kind of have.
Yeah.
When I had my last trip to Philippines.
Yeah.
It was actually in my family's house.
Yeah.
It was caught that day. I slept in that morning, so I missed them defeathering the bird, but I did see them. It was just a skinless chicken, and I saw obviously the head chopped off, and like the head chopped off in front of me, of course, and so I've seen half the process, but not the full process.
It's a lot of work, man.
It's a lot of work,
and it's these birds fight you. They don't want to be killed, and then you go to Kohl's or Woolies or something, buy a chicken breast, and it's $2 today. Like it's just like you have no idea the kind of the economy behind the scenes that we've. I don't know. It's quite eye opening. So there's you. A lot of people refer to me as quite a joyful person, and I think it's gratefulness, and travel's been a big thing for me for that. Of realizing, wow, like that Nick Vujicic, that guy's like got no arms and legs, and he's like, none of you woke up this morning and said, "Thank you, God, I have legs." But I pray to God for every day for legs, And you're like, I don't know, just living grateful. And if you go do a mission trip, it's just completely different to leisure, but man, they're enriching. They change your whole being almost. Yeah. I'd recommend it or just, save up. Say you got a few kids, you're a single mom. Travel when they're 20, You'll fight through their education or if you're a young person, man, stressed out, you won't be able to get into uni, take a couple years off, travel, Europe. Your parents will probably give you thousands of dollars. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you can try to get a job in southern France at a bakery or I don't know, and experience it and come back and apply to uni. You might get in it as a mature age student. Like, and you got this life experience. You're just such a bigger human. That's my perspective on travel. It's scary, but if you start small, you don't have to go to the scariest part. You don't have to go to Syria.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I don't know, my view on how I would answer that question, excuse me, is how important it is to travel, how important it is to like experience the world, to get these life experience, to make memories.
Yeah.
Hey, go in there with that water bottle.
It's good.
I think it's super important to, I think the reason why I asked that question is because I think a lot of what our world culture is, we think about the possessions, like how you talked about how a lot of your friends were buying cars and stuff. Yeah. It's like possessions mean nothing compared to like experiences and moments, and they've got so much more value than like a car or than a house, or like those are things that you could get in the future, but those moments and that journey, doing something different, experience is so much more valuable.
Oh man, big time. Hey, I mean, I understand a house because a house keeps so much value, but a car, man, a new car, it's gonna go down 70% in value in 5 years. It's like most cars. Right, unless you're going an old 911 turbo or something that's holding, it's probably going to depreciate almost faster than anything, right? I just my whole life I've spent under $3,000 on vehicles.
Wow.
And I'm 33.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's me though. Like other people are like, oh man, I got this car, it barely runs, but you can have it. And then you just jump on YouTube, fix it up yourself, find ways. And you learn how cars work. And it's quite like, it's like a adult puzzle. And you can, I don't know. I think that's quite like enriching. And then, maybe one day you are a millionaire and you go buy a Bugatti Veyron. And you know what I mean? And it costs $12,000 for a service. I don't know. But that's a different season, right?
Yeah.
If you're a millionaire, it's a pretty cool experience driving a $100,000 car. You know what I mean? But it's like, why are we living like we're millionaires, buying these cars, bankrupting every other area of our life? That's the only thing. It's not like cars aren't bad, but it's like you can't afford the car, man. Like, I just hate debt, man. I've never got into debt my whole life. I paid off uni in advance. Like, I got my uni loan. Second uni finished, I paid it off. Like, I don't know why. I just have hated debt. So when I hear people bought a car on finance, you're like, dude, oh, man, that stuff. Because it removes the responsibility from you. You don't realize.
Yeah.
Oh, it's $20,000. No, dude, it's only $200 a week. It's like, no, it's $20,000. Like, that's why, like, I don't even buy iPhones.
Plus interest.
Yeah. I don't even buy iPhones on finance. I'm like, no, I want to feel the bite of this.
Yeah.
It's $1,400. I need to feel that. I need to be connected with the pain of that purchase. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a paycheck, or that's, whoa, that's real. Like, that's not just $100 a week that you don't know what you're paying. I've never gone into debt on a trip in my whole life. I've never ever. Yeah, that's another whole thing. But
no, that's good. I 100% respect what you just said about not going into debt.
Yeah,
I think sometimes that's something I'm learning as a young person. I do have I'll be honest, I have a car on finance.
Yeah.
But my goal is to pay it off by the second year.
Come on.
And not the fifth year when it's prolonged to be 5 years. It's like, no, I'm paying it off. Actually, let's pay it off in a year and a half. That's my goal.
That's awesome.
And I'm looking like I'm close to that.
Come on.
And so it's like how important it is just to pay off debts. And hey, I'm right. You might be the same. I'm getting this excitement of this is going to be paid off quicker than I anticipated.
100, man.
And there's excitement paying off debts. Like,
there
should be an excitement paying off debts.
It is, man.
And it is important to not have all these debts.
Yeah.
Because I think some people are guilty of not just having one debt.
Yeah.
But multiple debts, and that's a place I never want to be and end up. So I'm glad that you're not like that.
Yeah. Like debt, the Bible doesn't say it's like a sin, but the Bible says you're a fool and a slave. Right? Like the borrower is slave to the lender, and the fool borrows money, right? So it's like, Bible doesn't say you're going to hell or you're a sinner or anything like that if you get into debt, but it just says you're a fool and a slave. It's like, it's one thing if it's kind of a major asset like a house or something that it's almost like, well, how do you do that? But it's like, in the end, if you buy a $400,000 house and pay it off over 30 years and it costs you $800,000, you worked for Westpac Bank and you paid them $400,000 over that 30-year period. Yeah. So however much you worked, if you're on $80,000 a year, that's 5 years that you actually worked directly for Westpac Bank. Or more if you work in after tax. It's like you were a Westpac Bank employee for 6 years or whatever it is.
And you weren't the one getting paid. You were paying
You were paying them. But you're a slave because all your money is going to them. So you're not actually getting money. Like for those 6 years or I know, but it's like debt puts something over you. Yeah. And I know you feel the bite when you buy that iPhone cash. I felt it when I was like, oh, $1,400, dang. But it's good to feel that, man. Like, that's why kids don't understand. If you just buy a kid, oh, can I borrow $20, Mom? Every day, here you go, $20, go to Macca's. You don't know the bite of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Until you get a job on $10 an hour. You're like, oh, is this McDonald's feed really worth 2 hours of cleaning those dishes? Or, whoa. You start to understand a value structure of what these things cost. And it's not just, oh yeah, 20 grand in a car. Dude, like that could be 2 years of work.
Yeah.
Like it's, at least understand it. And obviously you got to learn. That's like things you got to learn in life, but it's, yeah. I'm preaching now.
Yeah. It's good. I'm sure that people listening to this podcast were going to appreciate everything you just said, because we don't look at debt like that.
Yeah.
We don't look at debt as being a slave.
Yeah.
I think, you obviously reference the Bible, which I think is the ultimate source of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my opinion and thoughts on it. And so, and a worldly view, they don't have that same view of debt.
No.
It's like, debt means you become a slave to whatever you're paying towards.
Yeah.
You can't break that. You can't just say, I don't feel like paying this week. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No, you got to owe them.
They're going to get that car off you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Repossession.
Mm.
It's not yours.
Yeah.
They own you, sort of, in a way. They have strings, at least. Maybe not full ownership, because we live in a free country, but economically, you're not free. If you're, man, it's scary, that stuff. And then you wonder why you can't travel, but it's like, oh, you got a payment plan for this, payment plan for this, payment plan for this, payment plan for this. You're meant to be earning $1,000 a week, but by the time the payment plans come out, and then after tax, you're only bringing home $350. And then you're sitting there staring down the barrel of a grocery bill, and you're struggling to make ends meet, and you're wondering what's going on. It's because it's already happened.
Yeah.
Because of the debt. But you enjoy your nice car. You enjoy your, but realize that it is costing you.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize. Like they wonder, man, like, dude, my 2019, I spent $30,000 on travel.
Wow.
But it's like,
worth it.
I mean, yeah, like in a way, I probably overcooked it a little bit, but it was, the car rental in flipping Faroe Islands was $1,000 for 4 days, $250 a day.
Wow.
It's just, but there was one rental company, like full monopoly. What am I going to do?
Yeah. I'm
there for 4 days, buy a car and take my money.
But it's worth the experience.
Oh, dude.
Because you will always have that experience.
Yeah. And because I vlogged it, and
it's
there's
on YouTube.
video, and it's on YouTube, and it's like a digital video journal forever, right? It's special, man.
Would you say that when your teacher, back on your first ever overseas trip, gave you that assignment of, hey, I want you to do a travel journal, do you reckon that was the seed planted?
I think so.
For what you're doing now?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing still.
Yeah.
I'm doing these travel journals. Yeah, that's pretty profound to think about that. That's cool.
I believe, okay, I'm going to share a bit. I believe in this theory. Probably someone else thought of it too, but this is my theory. To my knowledge, I'm the only one that's thought about this. Call it the full circle theory.
Yeah.
There's little glimpses in your childhood that will point you to what your future will be like.
Wow.
Why my example is myself. When I found an SD card from like when I was 10 years old of me filming videos on my first ever camera.
Wow.
I didn't start filming videos again until 2019. And so it's like, I believe in this full circle theory. So it's my thing. I'm claiming it as my theory.
Come on.
But that's probably what happened. It's the seeds planted for whatever your future became.
Yeah.
One question I want to ask, obviously you kind of established it, but if those listening who haven't figured it out yet, they can hear an accent on you.
Yeah.
So you're obviously from Canada.
Canada.
But you're living in Australia on the Gold Coast. This is you would say this is your home.
Yeah.
Well, you got your citizenship.
Yeah, I'm Australian, man. I might not sound it, but I am.
Yeah. Tell me, what was the decision behind the move to Australia?
It's a big decision.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you could have just stayed in Canada and just traveled the world, but now you've decided I'm Australia and traveling the world.
how long do you want this answer to be?
However long it needs to be.
Oh, man. I moved from one side of Canada to the other when I was 11. Made best friends with these two guys that were part of the welcoming team, or maybe it's just buddy students or something.
Yeah.
Kyle and Ryan. And Kyle had like bone marrow cancer, like leukemia it's called.
At 11?
Yeah,
Wow.
we were young. So 11, 12, 13. It was pretty bad. But I don't know why, he was obsessed with Australia. He loved echidnas and platypus, the only two mammals that give birth via egg. There could be one more. But they're, like these weird beasts that are in the mammal.
Yeah.
There's a word for them there.
Marsupial? Wait, I don't know. I don't even know.
It's the.
Hey, you're the teacher. You should know this.
I know. Yeah, I can't remember right now.
Anyway.
Something. And anyway, he was obsessed with them.
Yeah.
And just wanted to go to Australia. So he was on the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And he was given the leukemia was pretty aggressive, pretty advanced. So he was dying, and he was on the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Asked him, listen, what's your dream? What's your wish? You want to meet Michael Jordan? You want to meet, Backstreet Boys? What's your Brad Pitt? What's your wish? I want to go to Australia, see platypus and echidna. And they bought his flight, and then 8 days before the flight, Kyle died. Wow. So I was 13, stood up at his funeral, promised to live his dream. Yeah, and I a bunch of other people close to me died. It's crazy, man. My 2 doors down across the street was this the Johnny family, Keith Johnny. He had these 2 beautiful dogs, and we'd walk the dogs around the block, and I'd quote Jerry Seinfeld, making him laugh. He died of a heart attack on a golf course, a month or so after Kyle. And then we played road hockey in Canada, so we were in this cul-de-sac thing. So the Johnnies lived on Surrey. We were on South Creek Drive and South Creek Court. And 3 or 4 houses down the Grimaldis, we'd play road hockey with them. Their dad, Emilio, died of cancer. That's same within a few months of Kyle and Keith. Wow. And then my great-grandma, she was 97. She lived a good life. But Grandma Hunt, she died. And then my uncle or great-uncle, I guess, like my dad's uncle, passed as well. And it was all in this year, man. And it was just I just kind of spun out. What's the point of living? What's the point of trying? What's the point of loving? Everyone's just going to die with so much pain. Perhaps if I stop loving them, then I won't hurt, Wow. So I decided to try to not love anymore and try to pull back my heart. And and I just started becoming easily offended and started easily, getting into fights and just defensive, and started just taking up those invites, going to parties. I'm trying to be the hard guy, so there's a bit of drugs over there, a bit of, I'll just stick to the alcohol because my older sister was pretty heavy into the drugs and stuff. And so I just kind of did the alcohol route, and I wanted everyone to know I was the hardest drinker. So I just took that to the full extent. By the time I was grade 12, I had vodka in my locker, getting drunk in the mornings, filling up a water bottle, pretending like it's water. and getting drunk every night. And yeah, like we'd go to house parties, sneak upstairs, steal a whatever Game Boy off the kid, or just just running amok, man. Like doing just kind of, I was pretty lost, I guess. I was like, who cares anyway? None of this has any meaning. It's kind of like this word is called nihilism, where nothing matters. It's became a little bit that.
Wow.
Where you just, who cares? Life doesn't matter anyway. I may as well have a bit of fun while I'm here. Eat, drink, for tomorrow we die, sort of thing, I guess. You're not aware of all this, but you, I started like, man, I was just lost. So I barely graduated high school, grade 12. It's hard when you're drunk every day. And lucky I had a pretty sharp mind. So I was able to, still pass with 60s and stuff. But I wasn't good enough to get into university, which, and all my friends went off to university. And I was like, I couldn't get into Brock. The saying in Canada is, if you can walk and talk, you can go to Brock. In Ontario. Brock University.
Oh.
If you can walk and talk, you can go to Brock. And anyway, so I just kind of thought, flip, man. Giving up, like just, And then parents saw that I was pretty down and out, and I wanted to travel. I wanted to move to France, maybe. I don't know. I just was, I need to do something else. And Jenica, my twin sister, was like, Josiah, I want to come to Australia. And I kind of started thinking, geez, Australia was my end goal, but far out, man. Australia is my number one in the world. Like that was my dream. So for Kyle, so moved. Mom and Dad paid for our flights to come. Moved to the Gold Coast. Started working at Shooter's nightclub, stealing drinks, money, getting into fights, like helping it was like, like the bouncer at the front. You'd be on the radio, back up to the front door. Just, yeah, man. Fell asleep on this bus ride home, woke up at Burleigh, went for a walk around Burleigh, and these two older Christian people were praying that morning that Jesus would use them on their run, and they met me when I was drunk. And just, I went home and got Jenica because I was like, Burleigh's so beautiful, and so we were together actually. But I woke up at Burleigh going, this is so beautiful. Went Jenica, like, I'm so depressed, like, I moved here to escape this kind of thing, and I'm nocturnal, man. Like, I'm working 9 to 5, 9 p.m. till 5 a.m. at Shooters, not getting to sleep. Just, my dream was to surf, make smoothies on the beach, get a beautiful girlfriend, drive a convertible car. I don't know, like, live the beach vibe. And, I just wanted out. I guess this family, Glenn and Lee's, were praying. Jesus used us on a run, and they bumped into Jenica and I at this fork in the road, and I asked them which way we should go, and I guess they realized that they had prayed. I don't know if their church was teaching on evangelism or something, I don't know, but they prayed that Jesus would use them on their run. Funny prayer. And then so they were open to God creating a moment, and I guess, and they were convinced that this was God to meet us. So they, let's run around quick and see if we can see him again before they, run off. And then we offered to buy him lunch and introduce us to our son, maybe he can be his friend. And so they did that, bumped into us, invited us to lunch, and the sons were like the worship leaders in this church, and the son, Jonty, and their friend, Dom Sham, and all these guys. And so they invited us to church, and I'm like, no, I'm not really interested. Like, grew up, in this Catholic school, and Father Ray was pretty monotone, and I just didn't enjoy the expression of church that I saw as a young teenager, and it was just hard, man. Like Father Ray would take these big long pauses, you know, like 20 seconds, and you're like, I think we've lost Father Ray. Like I just didn't want that. So I was like, well, and they're like, oh, you can come over for lunch after. I'm like, what time's church again? What's this free food about? And so I walked into church drunk, March 5th, 2006. I had 4 or 5 beers right before they picked me up, like going, man, I was so nervous. And then I passed out on their couch after church. And yeah, anyway, I had this sort of, I was just enveloped in this. The people at church were just insane. I'm like, hey, I got to go to the nightclub. That gave me a lift to the nightclub. And they're like, hey, we'll teach you how to surf. They brought me a board and brought all this, like, I'm like, you guys want a quick beer? They're like, dude, it's 7 a.m. And I'm like, it's a Corona, like it's a beach beer. Like, what's the problem? Haven't seen these things drank at night. They're like, dude, do you have any food in your fridge? And I'm like, no, I just got the beer, got a block of cheese, loaf of bread. And so they went out and bought me all this groceries. And then this girl came up to Jenik and I the next Sunday going, hey, I really feel like Jesus wants me to give you my car. Like, I'm just being obedient. Here's the keys. And I'm like, I don't believe in Jesus, but I accept the vehicle. And I just started using these Christians, man. Like, I thought they were kind of idiots, like really weak people, just using a crutch. But they're offering me this free stuff, and sweet, I'll hang around, And until I kind of realized that I was like, I used to make fun of my Catholic friends who would go to church because stay up and drink, man. No, I got to go to mass tomorrow. I'm like, oh, you wimp. Like, you don't even believe. You believe in evolution. Like, yeah, but it makes me feel good, man. Like, grandma's there. And I'm like, you're weak, bro. Like, you don't even believe you're going to church every week. And I realized I had become that man. I didn't believe I was going to church every week. So I kind of hit this crossroads where I got to either meet God or I got to stop going. So I started asking, man, how do you know Jesus? And this guy's like, man, it's pretty easy. You just have to want to know him. And I was like, oh, I thought God was going to ruin my life. Like, I thought Jesus just meant rules. So I didn't want to know him. I realized that I didn't want to know him. And I was like, I saw the pride of my own, like, arrogance, like it wasn't that I didn't believe in God. I didn't want God to be real. I thought God let me down when I was a young kid. So there was disappointment, which is fine when you're 13. But I'm now 18. And I'm going, geez, I don't know if I've worked all this through. Like, my atheism is built on pain, right? Like, it's not like I'm atheistic when it comes to Santa Claus, right? But that's not because I got bad gifts. It's not because Santa disappointed me. Or it's not because of pain. Oh, Christmas sucks, so Santa's not real. It's like, no, like, there's no emotion linked to my lack of belief in Santa. But there was all this emotion linked to my lack of, how can a loving God allow evil? And, what about the suffering? And, geez, you're talking pretty passionately about someone who is not real. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Why would you talk about anything passionate about Santa, man? You would almost think there's something wrong with me. Where was Santa when I asked for, and I asked for a Game Boy SD and a Game Boy Color came? Where was Santa when, It's just, that doesn't make sense, man. Like, it's fine to not believe in Santa, but not because he didn't give you good gifts. If that makes sense.
It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, and so I kind of questioned my whole atheism. Maybe it's not legit. Maybe I'm agnostic. Maybe I don't know. Like, maybe I'm actually just a discouraged Christian who is angry at God. So the best thing I can do is, you don't exist. And it's actually like, I don't know. It's like this weird, immature atheism. And I was like, is this legit? And I just started praying. I just started going to the beach. Jesus, I don't know if I'm legit. I don't know if I'm an atheist or what I am. These people are saying you're real. These people are saying if I cry out to you with everything, maybe I could know you. God, if you're real, I want to know you. And I really meant that, man. Like I was screaming at the beach like a madman, like yelling toward the ocean and the stars, and like every night for a month, like a madman, because I needed to know. And I was about to give up, man. After like it was close to a month, and I was like, I've given it a try, I've checked it off, gonna move on. I thought God wasn't real, and then I just woke up one morning with faith. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like I think scientists call it an epiphany, but it's like I went to bed and I didn't believe in God. The next morning I believed in God. I believed that God created the universe. I believed Jesus had to be God. I just did. I just believed it, but I couldn't accept that he loved me, you know? And until like he told me he loved me, man. Like I met Jesus and he told me, you're my son. Like, I love you. And how could I not love my son? I just couldn't understand why he'd love me. I've lived my whole life against you. I've done really bad things, and he loves me, man. You know? Like I woke up this morning. I've never graduated from that, man. I'm his son. I say, hey, Dad, I just want to be with you. Like, I'm not going to just lay out my prayer needs. Like, I want to know you. I want to hang. I want a quality time. You know what I mean? I don't want you to go to work and send a paycheck. I want you to come to my game to be with me. I want to be with you. That's what I desire. And my whole life changed, man. Like when it's intense, like, but I think about like how much your life would change if a demon lived in you. Like if you've watched Exorcism or any of these demon movies, scary, man. Like the eyes go black and you have anxiety and fear and you're almost not even in control. Like it's like you're stronger, you're scary stuff, demons, right? Like if you watch those movies. But picture if God's real, he's actually more powerful than a demon. And he's really good. And if that spirit lives in you, man, you're going to be different. Like you can't not be. But it's for good and for love and peace and joy and, you know? And that, like people ask all the time, you're the happiest guy ever. What are you on? Like people think I'm on drugs, man. Like I meet people and they think I'm on drugs. Because it's like, what are you on, man? Like maybe only take a half tablet next time. I'm like, yeah, like I have a pretty extreme personality, but it's like, it's Jesus. And so I went back home. My friends are on the same couch, smoking the same weed, doing the same stuff. And, you know, drinking the same beer, sitting, watching that couch and watching that 70s show. And I was, man, I've moved on. Like,
That's good.
I want to follow God. And then I didn't have any friends overnight. Like, it was like, man, if you're not going to drink with us, what's the point of... We actually feel quite uncomfortable without you drinking. We don't really want that around kind of vibe. They didn't know this, but it's... And then, so I just overnight had 0 friends. And I thought, man, those people in Australia loved me when I was drinking. Bringing 2 4s over to their house for a movie night. I'm the only one drinking. I'm in this Christian party and never judged me. And then they loved me after I'm a Christian. These people actually were my friends. They loved me for who I am, not for what I was doing. So even when what I was doing changed, their love was consistent. So it was real. So I was like, how the heck do I get back there? Maybe I'll give it a shot. University, Griffith. Apply for a business degree because I'm good at selling popcorn and all this. So, and then Griffith accepted me in like 10 minutes. I thought they made a mistake, man. And then I studied business, and then I'm like, maybe do 1 year graduate diploma of education and then apply for citizenship or permanent residency. And I got permanent residency after 6 days after applying, man. Wow. And then I became a citizen, and now I'm a high school teacher, and kids come up to me going, you know, Mr. Hein, like, can you pray for me? I'm like, what? Like, I'm the worst student in the school. Like, but they see some sort of spiritual mentor in me. And, hey, Mr. Hein, can you lead this, help lead this mission trip to the Philippines? I'm like, man, I'm a bad dude. I'm a bad man. Like, it's just, and yeah. And so now I'm a full-time high school teacher, been 7 years at the same school, my first full-time job. I don't know. It's so weird, man, who I am. And travel every holiday except the Corona, COVID-19. But saving money, doing little trips where I can. Even just road trip, man. Road trip to Cairns was such a vibe.
That's cool.
Like, you can stay in Queensland. Girraween's in Queensland. Did some islands, Morton, Fraser, North Strad.
The whole Whitsundays.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. Like, there's like incredible things. We're blessed. But, yeah, man. So I'm an Australian citizen who's a teacher now. When my principal, they wanted to expel me like 6 times. When my principal, Mr. Piccioni, found out I was a teacher in Australia, when my brother told him, he like keeled over in laughter. And God has a sense of humor, man. Like, one of the worst students is now a teacher. It's like, it's crazy.
And a well-loved one at the school too.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So funny, man.
Nah, cool. I love that answer.
Yeah.
This is the full story.
Yeah.
Of what really, I don't know, I think got you out into, it was an easy one. But as a story of like this motivation that made you, long for something greater.
Yeah.
That being Jesus.
Yeah, man. It's so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, that's cool. We won't go for too much longer.
Yeah.
But I want to ask 2 more simple questions.
Yeah.
So let's
simple answer.
One word for this one.
Okay.
So out of all you just shared today so far, and you've just shared your journey, what has been the biggest lesson?
Only one word?
One sentence, all right. One thing that you've learned from all of this. Ooh. I've stumped you.
Maybe
you're quiet for the first time today.
Maybe true Christianity is loving people.
Yeah. That's good.
And this is the second sentence, but recently I've been struggling to find the difference between the word love and the word listen. It's powerful, man. I don't know. That's a bit, but
that's a whole nother podcast episode.
Yeah, it is. It's deep.
I'll make sure to book you in for another one then.
Yeah. But true Christianity is actually just loving people.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing that truly separates. It's about the people. Like, even my travel, it's about people.
Yeah.
Like, I asked a buddy, he did all these trips around Europe, and he's like, my favorite's Glasgow. It's like, that's the crime capital of Europe. There's nothing in Glasgow. But there was people there.
Yeah.
He made great friends there. So it's his favorite. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
We need people, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. My final question for today. We talked about travel. We talked about what's already happened in your past. But what's for your future? Short and simple answer too. What's next for Josiah Hein in the next few years?
Marriage.
Wait, are you dating?
No.
So girlfriend.
Working on it.
So girlfriend.
Oh yeah, that's
marriage.
true. That's true. I was gonna say children, but I could just do that.
Girlfriend, marriage,
In a bank
children.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, yeah. Coffee?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, yeah. I guess family, man. Like, that's kind of the dream, I guess.
Mm.
Which it's
Kind of relates to what you just said before. It's all about people.
yeah. I'm kind of like I've done all this stuff alone.
Yeah.
You know, like climbed mountains alone in Norway last year, Iceland, by myself, bro.
Mm.
And even though it's cool that nothing holds me back, oh yeah, like I think there's a space for that. Like,
Yeah.
it's empowering to go to a movie alone, and go to a cafe alone, and
Mm.
journal. But yeah, I reckon it's just if you can find a significant other to love, like the Bible says, it's not good for man to be alone.
Mm.
You know, there's an element of just when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing.
Mm.
So I'm vibing that, man. I'm vibing just kind of. I'm 33. I'm kind of like craving a little bit of stability, a little bit of just, let's get family, let's get a piece of dirt,
Yeah.
you know, let's just get some order, I guess, in this wild life, and get someone that is with you forever, that you can build memories with forever. I wrote a song when I was 18. It's like, it's not about where you go. It's not about what you do. It's about who you do it with.
Hey.
Let's go. Yeah.
No, that's cool. I'm glad that you ended with that. It's kind of a bit of a spoiler alert for those that frequently listen to the podcast. It's one of the things that I want to be doing. A lot of what my focus is for 2021 is this whole concept of, if we all have dreams,
Yeah.
but it's not good for man to dream alone.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's one thing that I want to
Wow.
put more emphasis on. I'm still working on how to do well through the podcast and everything,
Yeah.
but what a way to tie it all together.
Come
to what
on.
we're talking
Let's
about.
go.
So thank you so much for coming on as
Honor,
a guest, and honored to have you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please let us know in the YouTube comment section, or even giving us a good review on Apple Podcasts, following us, sharing the Spotify, do whatever to engage with us, because you're probably like me and you loved listening to Josiah's story today. And hey, I want more people to hear his story, because the more people that engage with this podcast, the more people we can make their Mondays interesting.
Come on.
And with stories like, with guests, I should say, with like Josiah, and stories that he has, that makes for a pretty good Monday morning. Oh, that makes for a very interesting Monday morning.
Yeah, come on.
So thank you so much. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Come on.
Easy. Peace out.
Bless.